the only suitable location in town to take pictures at is completely covered in scaffold. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Now I know all of you are really excited about my Padme costume and how well that's coming along, and it's definitely not just me who's excited about it. There's like 2 of you. I've seen you. I know you're there. Like I said in last week's video, she is going on hold at the moment just because, do you ever get halfway through making a costume and then think to yourself, I'm going to America in 6 weeks. I have a lot of costumes and clothes I want to make before I go there. Oh my gosh, I am running out of time. What am I doing working on this costume that isn't due until October? I need to get everything else finished. No? Just me? Don't be too upset though. I am still working on a Padme project this week. Just not big Padme. I am making a Disneybound Padme. Yay! So basically when I go to Hollywood Studios and Ogre's Cantina, I wanted to rep my main Star Wars girl, and so I am going to be making a wonderful Padme Disneybound based on this image that I found on the internet. So without any further ado, let's dive on into it.
For this project, I'll be combining these 2 Butterick patterns, B6483 for the top and B6556 for the skirt. Fabric wise, I'm using this red bengaline to make the dress from.
So, editor me jumping in here to tell you a fun fact about bengaline. I didn't realise there was 2 types. I originally brought this bengaline to make my big Padme costume from, and it turns out this one has stretch in it and didn't have the little weaves in it that I needed to make big Padme from. So I was stuck with 8 meters of a fabric I had no use for, and so I had to find a use for it, and honestly that's kind of how this project came to be in the first place.
Back to fabrics, I also have this brown faux fur and a red zip to put in the side. And as per usual, the start of any project begins with cutting out all of the pattern pieces. Now I wanted to show you all how clever I thought I was being here, so I wanted to eliminate the closure on the left hand side of the bodice, so I thought I'll just cut the right hand on the fold. This comes back to bite me in the ass terribly later. Anyway, the final step in the fabric preparation is to transfer any of the notches and markings. For some of the pieces, namely the facings and one side of the collar, I am cutting out some interfacing which I will just iron on to the back side of them. And now it is assembly time. Welcome to Silly Sewing Moments with your host, Keely. Remember how proud you were for eliminating that odd seam in the front? Yes, you thought you were so clever. Well, what happens when you attempt to try it on? Now that just won't do. Looks like you're totally going to have to put that seam in the front place, aren't you? So yes, I did have to go back and cut out that side piece that I originally tried to get rid of. I also had to unpick one side of the bodice which I'd sewn up and then recut it, adding in that seam that I had tried to eliminate. And back to the regularly scheduled sewing montage.
So I just realised I can't actually try it on again because I've basted the closure shut, but just trust me when I say it does actually fit now.
With the bodice all sewn up, it was time to work on the skirt, so I started by cutting out the panels and then sewing the side seams together. I then cut out an 8-inch wide strip of the brown faux fur fabric, which I would be adding to the bottom hem of the skirt. After sewing it along the bottom edge, I then folded it over, encasing all those raw edges, and then sewed it in place.
Alright, so I'm trying the dress on for the first time just to check the fit and everything, and it fits! So I haven't taken any of the basting stitches out along the waist yet. I'll do that eventually. And one other thing that I'm going to have to sort out is I put the number of fastenings in that they recommended. I even did an extra one at the collar here. But as you can see, I'm going to have to put some more in just in this section here because, I mean, it's a look. Super happy with how the base dress is. So now I'm going to figure out how to make the shawl. Shouldn't be too hard, right? It's literally just a piece of fabric that wraps around. Done. But for real, let's make this shawl.
The first thing I wanted to do for the shawl was make the embroidery. I got my fabric interfacing and embroidery hoop ready, and I used one of the smaller designs that I'd already made for my big Padme project. I then cut it out to the shape that I wanted, and some lining fabric as well, and a small strip of the brown faux fur which I then sandwiched in between all of the layers and sewed together. I then trimmed away the excess fabric in the seams before turning it right side out. Now onto the shawly part of the shawl. Now I'd never made one of these before, so I'm completely winging it, and I started that by measuring roughly the size that I wanted it to be. Using that measurement as a guide, I then drew on a shawly shape onto the brown faux fur. I then cut the shape out of the fur and then out of the red fabric, same as the dress as well. I then laid the two pieces on top of each other and sewed them together. The dress is pretty much finished, as is the shawl, so now all I've got left to do is to make the little egg purse clutch thing that she carries with her. I'm not really sure how I'm going to be doing this. I just printed off a Easter egg sewing pattern, so I'm going to try and convert that into a purse. We'll see how well that goes, but yeah. I started by tracing the smaller egg shape onto some black pleather. I then cut out the two pieces and then sewed them together. I then repeated this process for the larger egg size on my holographic yellow pleather, except this time I cut out 4 pieces instead of 2. On one of the halves, I sewed that black half egg that I'd made. And for the other half, I actually sewed in a gold invisible zip. And finally, I added some red ribbon for the handle and sewed the two halves together. I mean, it's kind of egg-shaped. But the cool thing is it unzips and you can put stuff inside. So I mean, functional. And with this done, that's everything complete, so let's go try it on.
Alright, so what's in the bag, hon?
Okay, come have a look. Yeah? It's only the essentials, of course. Roger, roger. And there you have it. That is how I made my Padme Disneybound. Now, I cannot tell you how excited I am to wear this to Hollywood studios in, what, 35 days? Oh, I decided I'm going to meet Darth Vader while wearing it and, you know, just gonna see what he thinks. Whether he likes seeing his dead wife, who knows? Cool things about it, it's super lightweight. It's not obscenely heavy, even though, you know, fur. So I'm hoping that'll translate well to not overheating at Disney World. Fingers crossed. What things I would do differently? Honestly, nothing on this one. The only thing I would do differently is I would make the fur pieces out of a nicer pile of fur. And the only reason I didn't is because the fur I wanted to use was very heavy and I thought I would overheat, and I've only got so much suitcase allowance for everything I'm taking over. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I heard that if you do, your cotton will never run out on all of your sewing projects. I do a lot of sewing, crafting and fun related things on this channel, and I always try and upload at least once a week, usually on the weekend. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.
Don't drop it.
That's something that actually happens.
Wait, it's still burned. Kill it.
No, it's not.
You haven't sewn it.